You can always tell when a man feels something deeper than he's ready to admit. Not by what he says, but by what his eyes do when he looks at you. His words might stay casual. His tone may sound neutral, but his gaze gives him away every single time. You catch him looking at you when he thinks you're not paying attention. It's that half-second glance that lingers just a little longer than it should, the kind of look that holds both admiration and restraint. He studies your face like he's trying to memorize it. How your mouth moves when you talk, how your eyes light up when you laugh, how you tilt your head when you're thinking. There's a softness in his eyes, one he doesn't even realize is there. And it's in those moments that his feelings reveal themselves the most clearly. He might try to play it cool, keeping his tone even and his body language controlled, but emotions have a way of slipping through when the heart is involved. You'll notice his eyes shift between confidence and vulnerability whenever you meet his gaze. It's like a quiet war within him. Part of him wants to look away to protect his secret, but another part can't help but stay. Because looking at you feels like a relief and a risk all at once. He's afraid you might see through him, but a deeper part of him hopes you do. It's not just attraction that drives that look. It's connection, the kind that feels rare and a little terrifying. When you talk, his attention sharpens. The rest of the world seems to blur for him in those moments, even if he's trying not to show it. You'll see it in the way his pupils dilate, how his expression softens when you share something personal, or how he smiles just a little too long after you finish speaking. That's not just politeness, it's emotional investment. He's absorbing every detail, not because he has to, but because he wants to understand you on a level deeper than words can reach. And yet, when you catch him staring, he'll quickly look away. He'll clear his throat, fidget with his phone, or pretend he was thinking about something else entirely. He'll try to mask that moment with a smirk or a sarcastic comment, as if to erase the vulnerability you almost witnessed. But that brief flicker of panic isn't about embarrassment. It's about exposure. His gaze betrayed the thing he's been working hard to hide, the tenderness he feels when he looks at you. Sometimes his eyes will say the things his pride won't let him. You'll notice it when he's near other people and still finds you in a crowded room. Without meaning to, his eyes instinctively search for you. Like a compass that's already set, he may not cross the room to talk to you. But that silent search, that automatic awareness of your presence, is the language of unspoken affection. It's his way of staying connected, even when distance or circumstance keeps him from saying anything aloud. What makes it so powerful is that it's not deliberate. He's not performing or trying to charm you. This kind of attention slips out naturally because it's rooted in feeling, not strategy. There's honesty in that look, even when he's trying to hide it. You can see when someone's heart is involved. Their gaze holds warmth instead of curiosity, depth instead of surface. His eyes might wander to others, but the way he looks at you is different. It's focused, softer, more intentional, as if he's searching for something in you that feels like home. And every time you lock eyes with him, you both feel that silent tension. The air thickens for a second. Something unspoken passes between you. You can sense the push and pull, the part of him that wants to stay hidden and the part that wants to be known, and that's where his truth lives. In those quiet, fleeting moments where his guard slips and emotion shines through his eyes, it's the unguarded connection that says more than 1,000 words ever could. When a man has deep feelings for you but isn't ready to show it, he starts creating moments that seem like coincidences but are anything but accidental. You'll notice how often he happens to be where you are, or how he messages you at the exact moment you were thinking of him. It's never planned openly, but it's also never entirely random. He finds ways to stay close without crossing the line that exposes how much he actually cares. It's his way of feeding the connection while pretending it's casual, because admitting that he's making an effort would mean admitting that his feelings are real. He might tell you he was just in the neighborhood or just remembered something funny and decided to text. But beneath that easy tone is a quiet intention to create a bridge, to feel your presence for a few minutes, to reassure himself that you're still within reach. These small moments are his hidden invitations. He engineers opportunities to talk, to meet, to laugh, to linger just a little longer. but he hides all of it behind coincidence. He wants the closeness without the risk of rejection, so he makes it look effortless, even though there's nothing effortless about it. You'll sense it when he's around you, how he notices small chances to connect. Maybe he joins the same event you mentioned offhand, or starts showing up where he knows your friends hang out. Maybe he suddenly takes an interest in things you like, not to impress you directly, but to build a natural reason to be near you. He creates shared spaces where connection feels organic, where neither of you have to label it. It's his way of saying, I want to be close, without having to speak the words. Even in conversation, he creates little openings. He might send a message that seems light-hearted, something that doesn't demand much of a response, but leaves the door open for you to walk through. He gives you a moment to reply, to engage, to extend the interaction. He's not just texting, he's testing the emotional space between you. He's searching for safety, for a sign that you might feel something too. Every just checking in or thought of you carries more weight than he'll ever admit. Sometimes he'll do something thoughtful and disguise it as nothing. He'll remember a story you told weeks ago and casually bring it up like it just popped into his head. He'll notice when something's off with you, but instead of directly asking what's wrong, he'll find a softer route, mentioning something funny, sharing a distraction, trying to lift your energy without making it obvious that he's concerned. That's how he loves silently, through these crafted moments. He takes care of you without drawing attention to the depth behind it. And when you start to look closely, you'll realize these coincidences happen too often to be random. He's constructing a rhythm around you, aligning pieces of his life to brush against yours. The timing, the messages, the shared places, they're small but intentional. He may not even be fully conscious of it, but his heart is orchestrating it all. Because when someone feels something deeply, they naturally move toward the person who awakens that feeling in them. What makes it all so intriguing is that he'll deny it if asked. If you ever point it out, he'll laugh it off or act surprised, as if it's all pure chance. That's because what he's protecting isn't just his pride, it's his vulnerability. Admitting intention means admitting emotion. And that's the one thing he's trying to keep hidden, but actions always speak louder than the walls we build. His behavior tells a story even his words won't. Those small engineered encounters aren't meaningless. They're his quiet way of saying, I'm drawn to you. He builds these little bridges, hoping you'll meet him halfway, hoping that in one of those accidental moments, something real might finally be allowed to surface. When a man starts to feel something real, something that shakes the walls he's built around himself, he often reacts by pulling away. It's not because he doesn't care, it's because caring too much scares him. The deeper his feelings grow, the more vulnerable he becomes. And vulnerability is not a space he's comfortable in. He may have spent years learning to control his emotions, to stay detached, to keep his heart safe behind logic and distraction. But when someone makes him feel seen, when that emotional closeness becomes real, it threatens the stability of the armor he's worn for so long. So instead of leaning in, he retreats. You'll feel the shift before you understand it. One moment he's warm, attentive, and fully present, and the next he's quieter, distant, and hard to read. Conversations that used to flow easily now feel slightly strained. He doesn't reach out as quickly. His replies come slower, shorter, not because he's lost interest, but because he's trying to get control of himself again. The intensity of his feelings catches him off guard, and his instinct is to create distance to keep his emotions in check. In those moments of closeness, he felt something powerful. Connection, safety, desire. But right after, fear steps in. Fear of getting hurt, fear of losing control, fear of needing someone. For a man who's used to managing his emotions, that kind of depth feels like standing on the edge of something vast. He doesn't know what it means or where it might lead, so he steps back to regain balance. He convinces himself that space is safety. You might think he's changed, that he's no longer interested, but in truth, he's wrestling with emotions that feel too big for him to process. He doesn't know how to exist between wanting you and protecting himself. So he creates this emotional distance to cool the fire. But what he doesn't realize is that the very act of pulling away often reveals how much he truly feels. You don't retreat from something meaningless, you retreat from something that matters. Sometimes he'll mask the distance behind excuses, work, stress, being busy. Other times he'll simply go quiet without explanation. You'll sense the confusion in him when he does see you again. His eyes still soften, his body still leans in unconsciously, but he holds back just enough to stop himself from crossing that emotional line again. It's not rejection, it's resistance. He's fighting the part of him that wants to surrender completely because surrender feels like losing control, and control is how he's learned to survive. Deep down, he wants the closeness, but he also fears the power it gives you. Because when a man truly cares, he realizes you have the ability to affect him, to calm him, to shake him, to hurt him, and that realization makes him cautious. So he creates this emotional push and pull, a rhythm of approach and retreat. He'll come close when he feels safe, then disappear when his emotions start to rise too high. It's his unconscious way of testing the connection, asking, will she still be there if I step back? If you look closely, you'll see that his withdrawal isn't cold, it's conflicted. He doesn't stop noticing you, doesn't stop caring. He just starts watching from a distance, hoping time will quiet what he feels. But feelings don't fade that easily. Every time he tries to detach, something pulls him back. A memory, a look, a small detail that reminds him why he cared in the first place. This cycle of closeness and distance isn't about manipulation. It's about fear disguised as control. It's the struggle between his heart wanting to open and his mind telling him to shut down. And even when he seems far away, that distance is just a pause in his fight to manage something he doesn't fully understand yet. Love that feels too real to hide, but too risky to admit. When a man has deep feelings for you but doesn't know how to express them, he often turns his emotions into quiet acts of protection. It's rarely something dramatic or obvious. It's subtle, hidden in the way he looks out for you without drawing attention to it. He might never say, I care about you directly, but you'll feel it in the way he shows up when you need it most. Even when you didn't ask, his love speaks in actions rather than words. Because protecting you feels safer than confessing what's in his heart. You'll notice how he always seems aware of your comfort when you're walking together. He instinctively moves to the side of the road. When you're out in a crowd, his hand might gently guide you through without him even realizing what he's doing. It's not about control, it's care disguised as instinct. He makes sure you're safe, that you're not left out, that you're okay, all without needing to make it obvious. It's his way of saying, I've got you, without ever speaking the words aloud. Sometimes his protection takes the form of small check-ins. He'll ask if you made it home safe, if you ate, if you're doing okay after a tough day. To others, it might sound casual, but there's thought behind every message. He notices when your energy shifts, when something's off, and he subtly finds a way to be there. He may not always have the right words, but his actions carry meaning. That's what men do when they care deeply. They express love through responsibility rather than emotion. And there are moments when you'll see him step in quietly, defending you in ways he doesn't even mention. Maybe someone speaks harshly about you, and he changes the subject, steering the conversation away. Maybe he senses that you're uncomfortable and uses humor to ease the tension. He becomes your silent shield, not for recognition, but because protecting you gives him a sense of purpose. It's his unspoken way of keeping you safe, of holding space for you in a world that can be careless. What's fascinating is how naturally it happens. He might not even realize how much he's doing it until someone points it out. That's because when emotions run deep, they bypass logic. His protective instincts rise not from obligation, but from genuine care. He feels responsible for your well-being in a way he can't quite explain. And even though he hides his feelings, his behavior keeps revealing them in moments like these. There's also a quiet tension in how he balances this care. He wants to be there for you, but he doesn't want to overstep. He'll offer help in a way that seems casual, not wanting to make you feel dependent or to show how much he's invested. He'll frame it as something small, don't worry, I've got it, or it's no big deal. But to him, it is a big deal. Every small gesture is his heart finding ways to reach you without exposing itself completely. When you open up about something painful, he listens differently. He doesn't rush to fix it, but his presence becomes steady, calm, reassuring. He might give you practical advice or just quietly check in later, showing he remembered. That's his version of emotional intimacy, staying aware, showing consistency, making sure you feel supported even when he's not saying much. And perhaps the most telling thing is that he never asks for credit. He doesn't need to announce what he does for you or seek your validation for it. His care lives in the background, woven into your everyday interactions. That's how you know it's real. It's not performance, it's instinct. He protects you not to impress you, but because not doing so would feel wrong. His way of loving hides behind these quiet acts of protection. It's not about rescuing you. It's about making sure you're okay when you don't even notice you needed someone to care. And even if he never says how he feels, his actions whisper it over and over again. You matter more to him than he'll ever dare to admit. When a man has deep feelings for you but tries to hide them, one of the clearest signs lies in the way he starts mirroring your energy without even realizing it. It's not something he plans or controls. It happens naturally, as if his emotions tune him into your frequency. You'll notice that his mood shifts with yours, that he unconsciously adopts your habits, your phrases, even the rhythm of your laughter. It's subtle at first, but over time, it becomes unmistakable. He starts reflecting your world back to you because his heart has quietly aligned itself with yours. When you're excited, he mirrors that spark. His energy rises when yours does. And when you're quiet or thoughtful, he softens too, lowering his tone as if his emotions are following yours without a word being said. This kind of emotional synchronization doesn't come from casual attraction. It happens when someone genuinely cares and wants to connect on a deeper level. His mind pays attention to you, but it's his heart that adapts. He's emotionally investing. Whether he admits it or not, you might notice him picking up your mannerisms without even realizing it. Maybe he starts using the same phrases you do, or laughing in a way that sounds just a bit like yours. He might develop small habits that feel familiar, like taking his coffee the same way you do, or starting to like a song you once mentioned in passing. These aren't calculated moves. They're quiet reflections of emotional closeness. People naturally imitate those they admire or feel deeply connected to. And when a man mirrors you like this, it's a sign that he's deeply tuned into your presence. Even his timing begins to sync with yours. He messages when you're thinking of him. He reaches out right after you've had a tough day, as if he can sense your emotional shifts from afar. It's not that he's reading your mind, it's that he's paying close attention. His focus is drawn toward you, even when he's pretending to be distant. You live rent-free in his subconscious, influencing how he reacts, how he feels, how he moves through his day. And in conversation, he starts matching your tone. If you're light and teasing, he plays along effortlessly. If you're serious, he slows down and listens with depth. He mirrors your emotional language because he's attuned to you, not just hearing your words, but feeling the emotion behind them. That's what emotional mirroring truly is, a silent harmony between two people who may not be ready to speak their feelings, but are already communicating through energy. Sometimes he'll even pick up on your silence. When you're off or withdrawn, he'll sense it before you even say anything. He might not ask directly, but his demeanor changes, his voice softens, his responses become more thoughtful, and his attention sharpens. That shift reveals how deeply he's connected, even if he doesn't show it openly. A man who doesn't care stays the same regardless of your mood. A man who feels something real adjusts without needing to be told. And though he may act casual, there's a quiet comfort that builds between you because of it. You start feeling like he understands you without words, like the two of you exist on an unspoken wavelength. He may try to downplay it, keeping his emotions under control, but that natural mirroring betrays his inner truth. He's emotionally invested, more than he wants to admit. What makes it even more telling is how this mirroring happens during moments of vulnerability. When you open up, his expression softens, his breathing slows. His posture mirrors yours, as if to meet you where you are emotionally. He doesn't realize it, but it's his body's way of saying, I'm with you in this. It's empathy in motion, affection translated into presence. He might still hold back from saying the words, still keep his feelings neatly hidden behind self-control, but his energy doesn't lie. Mirroring is the heart's quiet confession. It's how love leaks through the cracks of silence, and every time he matches your rhythm, every time his emotions move in sync with yours, he's showing you what he can't bring himself to say out loud, that somewhere deep inside he already feels connected to you in ways he can no longer hide. There are always moments when a man who hides his feelings slips without realizing it, when his guard cracks and the truth peeks through before he pulls it back again. These are the rare, quiet moments when he forgets to perform, when his defenses drop and the person he truly is, the one who feels deeply, comes forward. He might spend most of his time trying to look calm, detached, or in control, but all it takes is one moment of genuine connection, one shared laugh, one look that catches him off guard, and suddenly his emotions are written all over his face. It could be something small, like how his voice softens when he says your name, or the way he laughs without holding back when you make him smile. Maybe it's the way he stares at you for a few seconds too long, forgetting to look away this time. It's in those unplanned seconds that his real feelings spill out, the tenderness, the warmth, the vulnerability he tries so hard to hide. For that instant, his walls are gone, and you see the truth in his eyes before he quickly gathers himself again. He might say something that sounds too honest, too personal, and immediately shift the topic, almost as if he regrets letting it slip. Those sudden changes in tone aren't accidents. They're his instincts trying to protect him after his heart accidentally spoke first. Maybe he compliments you in a way that sounds deeper than it should, or opens up about something personal he rarely shares. It happens when emotion outweighs his caution, and he lets you glimpse the version of himself that he keeps hidden from the rest of the world. In those fleeting moments, you see who he really is behind the cool exterior. He becomes more expressive. His words flow easier, and there's a softness that wasn't there before. He listens more deeply, responds more thoughtfully, and you can feel that his attention is undivided. It's as if, for that short while, he forgets to protect his heart and allows himself to feel safe with you. And just as you start to sense the openness, he catches himself. His tone changes, his posture shifts, and the emotional curtain falls back into place. What's beautiful, though, is that these cracks aren't mistakes. They're glimpses of authenticity. They're proof that his feelings are real enough to slip through the barriers he's built. A man who feels nothing has no guard to begin with. But a man who's fighting to contain what he feels, he's the one who occasionally lets the truth escape, not because he chooses to, but because emotion always finds a way out. His laughter lingers too long, his gaze softens at the wrong moment, his words reveal a depth he can't explain. Each of these moments tells you more than any direct confession ever could, and if you pay close attention, you'll see how his energy changes after it happens. He might become quieter, more withdrawn, as though he's internally replaying the moment, wondering if he revealed too much. He tries to re-establish his composure, maybe even tease or joke to cover it up. But there's a subtle nervousness beneath it, a tension between relief and fear. Relief, because being open with you felt natural. Fear, because he knows he's not supposed to let his heart show that clearly. You'll notice it again and again. Those little cracks of sincerity that appear when he's relaxed, comfortable, or caught off guard. The truth of his feelings lives in those unscripted moments where emotion overtakes logic and the act of hiding slips for just long enough for you to feel his depth. He might never say it directly, but every time his voice softens unexpectedly, every time he looks at you with that unguarded warmth, he's saying it without words. He's revealing the part of himself that wants to love, but isn't ready to be seen. And even though he quickly retreats, you'll know that what you witnessed was real, the brief, beautiful truth of a man whose heart speaks louder than his fear, even if only for a moment.